Yo, what's going on, everybody? Today I'm going to be showing you how to make your very own homemade rock climbing holds with whatever you want to do. So whatever your style is, whatever you want to make. Okay, so there's essential ingredients that you'll need for your rock climbing holds. I'm just going to give you a rundown of everything that I have. You'll need snacks, number one priority. So make sure you have plenty of water. This has nothing to do with creating the holds, but it's just because it's a long process. Okay, so first things first, you're gonna need floral foam. I'm just gonna point out all the stuff you'll need. You'll need floral foam, you'll need a box, like empty box with the little tongues on it, some scissors, a knife, a couple of these, call them O-rings or D-rings, whatever you call it, some tape, hot glue gun, some glue sticks. Here's where the most important thing comes in. You're gonna need some sort of silicone rubber molding kit, and I use this stuff. It's called Smooth Moo, I think. It's smoothon.com. I just found it on Amazon and it works for me, but it's Umu 30. Okay, and it takes about, I let it sit for about 24 hours before I actually start working with it, because it's to set the mold, and if you take it out too early, it's hard to tell if you can take it out, or it's hard to tell when it's completely set. So giving it a full day to set, you're making sure that it's fully set. But yeah, you're gonna need this. All this is a part A and B, and I'll get into that in a second. And then lastly, the other most important thing is you're gonna need part A and B of polyurethane resin. This is what the holds. This is what makes this. That rubber stuff is for the mold that you pour this stuff into, and it comes out, and this is actually polyurethane resin that makes these. So yeah. First things first, I'm just gonna show you step one through whatever I would do. I think I already said you need scissors. So step one, you're gonna need, or you're gonna take your floral foam. I'm not gonna do this indoors, and I'm not gonna do it right now because of ventilation purposes, but this stuff is not good to breathe in. So I recommend if you're gonna do it indoors, you wear a mask, but I would do it outdoors if I were you, and I would try to keep it away from your face because this stuff goes airborne pretty quickly, and it makes just a huge mess when you're cutting through it. But what I would do is I would cut through. Your aim goal is to whatever hold you want on the wall. I'm not really making rock climbing holds. I'm making something similar, more of grip strength training tools. So what I did with this, this came out of this right here. I just sculpted it down. I used my hands and some paper or paper towels and whatnot, and I rubbed it around until it was nice and smooth. And what I did is I wanted something that would be very nice and neutral in my hand. I did something very similar because I have an already set mold over there, but we're just gonna be using that because like I said, it takes 2 days to do it. What you're gonna wanna do is after you've sculpted your hold and it looks, let's pretend this is made out of foam. Like this is what you want it to look like. This is a crimp in rock climbing, okay? So this would go on the wall and you'd use your hand to climb up it, and you want multiple of these. So after you've sculpted your hold or whatever you want it to look like, this is the end result. This is the first step. You have your hold made out of foam, okay? Now what you're gonna need to do is make a mold box for it. You want this mold box to be, I'd say, 1/2 inch to 1 inch in depth, completely around the hold you're trying to make. So if I put this in here, you can see that. You see how it's much too wide. The reason we do this is because if you were to pour that silicone in here, one, it wouldn't be enough because the silicone is very limited to whatever you purchase. Like if you had 2 gallons of it, yeah, you could fill up that, but it'd be so much wasted space because it'd be filling up all this area right here, which could be usable for other holds. So what you want to do is you want to take the tongues off, like the tongues of the box here. So I'm going to cut these off. Okay, so cut these off, and then once you have those cut off, you're gonna want to section off wherever the box is. Hopefully y'all can see this. This is a already set mold. So there's a hold in there right now that I made that I haven't actually looked at yet, so we're gonna reveal that in a second. But yeah, you wanna section it off. The hold for me was about, that big, so about 1 inch around in molding. You want it to be nice and strong, but you don't want to waste a lot of silicone because that stuff's not very cheap. I think it was like 26 bucks for these two, and this isn't very much. Yeah, so what I did, if you can see in here, I cut those little tongues off, and I would put them in the shape around that hold. So I cut them off, and then I just took my glue gun and glued around. You can see all that. And then once you have that made, once you have the section off, you want to take your glue gun and you want to dab a bit of glue wherever the hold is going to be, and you want to glue it onto a spot. I made this first mistake that I didn't do that. I didn't secure this to the bottom, and when I poured the silicone on it, the hold just floated to the top of the silicone. It ruined the hold, and I wasted a bunch of silicone rubber. So don't make that mistake. Make sure this is nice and secure to the bottom, and we're pretending we have like a rim around this, and it's nice and glued so it's sealed off so it won't leak. The tape is, as you can see, I taped the bottom of this off here. It's just to seal it off so when you pour the silicone, it's not gonna leak through the cracks. So let's say this is in here and it's secured and it's nice and sectioned off. We'll pretend like it's sectioned off and it's gonna be in here. Next thing you're gonna do is this is a part A and part B. Part A and part B solution. So it means it's a 1-to-1 ratio. It means that whatever I pour into here, I need to pour this much into there as well. So 50-50 of each, and then mix it all together. You need to make sure this is extremely mixed together before pouring it into the mold, or else it won't cure correctly. So yeah. All right, so once you have the silicone mixed together, you're gonna wanna start pouring it in here. The way I would pour it to make it look like this, you see how I pretend like I'm just pouring the silicone on top of this. It's gonna fill all the gaps and everything. This is gonna be the fun part, by the way, where I reveal what it looks like, because I don't really know how it's gonna look. But as I'm pouring it, you're gonna pour from the lowest point, or one of the corners, because these all should be the same point. And then you're just gonna slowly pour a very small amount, or a very thin line down until it starts to fill up, until you eventually get it looking like this. Okay? And you'll know when it's nice and mixed, because this is gonna be pink. This is a pink color. This stuff is really messy, by the way. You're gonna wanna make sure you have a bunch of napkins around. And then this is blue. So that's blue. And you mix those together and it makes this kind of purplish color. You see that? That's good. And you're gonna let that sit again for 24 hours. So now we have our mold and we're on to, I don't even know what step we're on, but this is the next step. The next step is we're gonna reveal our mold and we're gonna take out as much foam as we can. It's a bit of an annoying process, but we're gonna break it down. So I'm gonna go ahead and rip this apart. As you can see, it's a shit ton of silicone rubber. It's really heavy after it comes out. But once you have the mold made, you can make, and if you do it properly and it's nice and strong, you can make pretty much as many holes as you want out of it, as long as it stays intact. So this is how it looks. As you can see, I put the hold in there and it's stuck in that hole. But our job right now is to get this hold right here out of there, or get as much foam as we can out of that hole. And the hold is about as big as this piece of silicone, so it doesn't matter how the hold looks now. Your silicone should have formed to the shape of the hold. So this is trash now. We just need to get it pulled out. And the way I need to do that is we need to kind of widen this hole a little bit. Okay, so that's rinsed out with water. You can see that. Shouldn't be too much foam left in there. The first hold we're gonna do is we're gonna just throw it out anyway, because it's gonna be ripping out all that excess foam that's attached to the silicone in there. So don't really worry about making it too perfect, but make sure you get as much as you can. That way that first hold pulls the rest of it out. And then the second hold you make should be good. So we'll go outside and we'll pour this resin. Okay, so there was 2 more things that I forgot to say you need. You're gonna need some sort of, I would use plastic cups, something that you can pour liquid into that you're never gonna care about again, and then something to stir with that again, because once this resin sets, there's really no getting rid of it. There's no cleaning it up. And a bowl to mix it in. So remember I just rinsed that off. Now I'm just drying out the rest of the water in there. Should be nice and dry. And yeah, we're gonna need those D-rings too, so we'll be back. Okay, so you have your cups. Make sure all the water's dried out of here, so there's nothing left in there. You're gonna see a little bit of foam, that's okay. Remember, this first one we're doing is just to pull the rest of that foam out, and should be good. And to show you how much resin you're actually gonna need. This stuff smells really bad, and it's probably kills your brain cells if you breathe it in. So make sure you're doing this outside. And if you get it on anything, like if you get this on anything, it will destroy it. Remember, this knife or whatever you're using, you can never use it again once it's, because that silicone or that resin, this stuff will bind to it. So what we're doing now is we're just gonna have to gauge. We don't, because I don't know, I didn't measure it. We're just gonna gauge how much resin we think it would take to fill this up. So I think it's gonna be, I don't know, up to the L. It's up to the L in solo cup. So I filled this up to the L, the bottom of the L, and I'm gonna do the same with this cup. Okay, so now it should be about even, right? I never do it perfectly, but it should be about even. I'm just gonna do a little bit more because I don't think that's gonna be enough. So to the O, we'll go to the bottom of the O. Bottom of the O. Bottom of the O. Remember, don't breathe this stuff in. Can't be good. It cannot be good for you. And what we'll do, as long as it's not gonna overflow, we'll pour this side and this side, and you have to mix these things up very quickly, because if you don't, this stuff will set. It starts to heat up very fast, and I'll show you. So this knife is now, it's gonna continue to be our stirrer knife, but as soon as you get it mixed up, it'll be nice and brown, and it doesn't have to mix like silicone as much, but make sure it's nice and consistent. Pour it slowly into the mold. It's already starting to heat up. All the way up. Okay, so that even wasn't enough. It was almost perfect, but it wasn't enough to fill it up. So I'll show you. So we're just gonna hold the camera here because I want to show you what happens with this stuff. I'll let you know if anything bad happens if we're not doing it. There it goes. See it changing color? Turning white. Yeah. So remember, that was just liquid. And now I'm gonna let it sit for about, say, 5 minutes or so. All right, so it's been about 5 minutes. Let me go ahead and take this one out. It should come out fairly easily because foam was in there, and it's just taking the excess foam out. Okay, so as you can see, I just ripped the mold down the middle. That might have been necessary because this whole shape is a little weird, but there you go. So it's out. See how it's all green? Kind of has all that foam residue on it. What we wanted to do is just get that out. It's not too bad though. That just pulls out the rest of the foam. The purpose behind this grip is it's basically a neutral pinch where all my fingers can go in it, and I also sculpted it so it would fit my left hand too. So now it's like a very nice, comfortable hold. And yeah, so this is the one we don't necessarily want to keep, but again, you can see how the mold is a little trashed now. What we're gonna have to do is tape up the sides a little bit just to close it up, and then we can re-pour another hold in there, and it should be fine. Just make sure there's no residue in there. And as you can see, it's pretty clean now. All the little imperfections in there, look around, because if they're in there still on this next pour, it's gonna mess up the how the hold looks. So what we'll do is, because it's silicone rubber, it's fine. We're just gonna pinch it back together with a little bit of tape, untape it when we pour the next one, and yeah, we're gonna be good. So I'm gonna grab some tape real quick. All right, so what we're gonna do now is we're just gonna tape all the way around this. The tape seam doesn't really want to stick to it, so we'll tape all the way around it to give it a little extra support. And all it's gonna do is keep the mold from opening up when we pour the resin in there. Looks fine. And this will be our good hold that we pour. And that's where these are gonna come in. So you see how this dried like that? It was kind of sitting up. All we're doing with this is we're gonna hold it here until it's nice and dry. And it'll dry with this in here, and then you can hang it on stuff and use it as a pinch. This will actually make it much easier to pull the hold out. Yeah, I think it's going. So it might take a little bit longer because it's not bonding into itself, it's actually bonding to the metal. So, but you can see it's obviously starting to work. So we'll give it another 5 minutes and then we'll pull it out. All right, so it's been about 5 minutes. What we're gonna do is we're just gonna cut this tape so we can open the mold back up. And I have to do that every time we use this mold now. So just one of those things. You can see where it started to come under the, or out of the mold a little bit. Show you. It's pretty hot right now. The metal is really hot. All right, so you can see how the mold, like it was coming in there a little bit. While it's still curing, it's not terribly hard. Just take that off and pull up, because once it's soft, once it hardens, it's gonna be much more harder to clean it up. But yeah, that looks pretty good. Again, I made this for right and left hand, so I grab it with my left hand, grab it with my right hand. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pour another one of these, and I'll show you how it works. All you do is you just obviously hang that up on a thing, but I'll show you them in action. So do one more. All right, so now I have these two holds I just made, and they're still pretty hot, which is gonna suck if I try to do pull-ups on them. The reason I made them so you can flip them either way, right or left hand, is because that way I only have to use one mold to make right and left hands. If you just made it for your right hand, you'd have to make a left-handed mold as well. So this is kind of universal, and it saves you some time and materials. But as you can see, it's a perfect pinch. My thumb kind of sinks into that hole. Gosh, these are so hot still. But all you're gonna do, get a nice place to hang them up. This is part of my setup here. See how they're hanging up now? Let's get a little bit of there you go. They're hanging up. Grab onto them. And the whole point of this is to get more of like a grip strength pinch. Rock climbers like to use their hands and pinch. So yeah, that's what this is training. And That's one of my weak areas. That's the reason I got them. But yeah, they're strong enough to hold my body weight. Oh, they're still really hot. Wait for them to cool down. But yeah, that is how you make your own rock climbing holds. And you can make whatever you want. I tend to make stuff that would help me work on my weaknesses. And if you guys like this video, please like and subscribe. And I don't know how many more DIY videos I'm gonna do, but if you guys like this, maybe I'll do more. So yeah, there you go. Cool rock climbing holds. Yo, what's going on, everybody? Today I'm gonna be showing you how to make your own very